fish.
Today on Legends of Rod and Reel, it's 2 for the price of 1. We kick things off with big fish and big baits. It's the tale behind one of the biggest success stories in the bait business. From big to small, we hang with Bob Ggerding, a Southwestern legend on the fly. All that today on Legends of Rod and Reel.
All who seek fish are not created equal. Some anglers who ply the waters possess a passion unbridled, with catching skills unmatched. With all fish, they see eye to eye. They are the Legends of Rod and Reel.
Come late October, winter's cold claws always seem to dig into Minnesota's fall fishing season. Thing is, the snowy grip doesn't scare Brad Hoppy.
It's been snowing on and off the last 3 days.
Brad never shies away from a little cool weather. But sharing too many of his favorite fishing secrets, well, that's a different story.
You know, this particular lake that we're going to be fishing today is a clear water lake, very deep.
Brad likes to keep his unnamed lake secret. After all, he knows where to catch some of the world's biggest and meanest freshwater fish, the muskie.
All right, mouthful of teeth. Let's let her go and see if we can't get another one. Gotta love the cold weather.
On this chilly morning, Brad suits up alongside his wife, Carrie.
And keep my pants up.
Another who understands the lure of muskie fishing. You see, this time of year, anglers migrate to musky lakes. They chase some of the biggest fish of the season. Big female muskies tend to put on a few extra pounds to get them through winter and prepare them for the upcoming spring spawn.
What a fun time of the year.
In this big-time nose drip weather, Brad and Carrie begin the task of 10,000 casts.
I have to learn how to cast with gloves on again.
The search for a giant muskie, well, this isn't Brad's first fishy rodeo, so to speak.
First time I was in the boat, I was 6 weeks old. So I've been in the boat and on the water for many, many years. In the mid-90s is when I kind of rekindled the flame with muskies. I never enjoyed muskie fishing as a kid. There's a fish right there. Lazy, lazy, lazy girl. Not a bad sign. Third cast, have a fish up to the boat.
Brad guides as much as 5 days a week some months, but in his business, aptly called Muskie Mayhem, he's got a partner.
What'd your grandpa tell you, Carrie?
It was too much work.
Muskie fishing was too much work?
Yep, so we couldn't go do it.
Wife Carrie carries the muskie bug too. Oh, and not to blow Brad's best fishing secret, but it turns out Carrie may have been the best thing for Brad's fishing business. Not long after these two married, Carrie realized her husband always seemed to talk about muskie fishing, specifically muskie fishing baits.
He would talk and talk and talk, and I couldn't listen to him talk anymore, so I just started playing with different things.
Carrie started tinkering, trying to build her own muskie lure.
I just wanted to see if I could do it. You know, he always wanted to do some kind of bait company, and I started doing the whole bucktail thing because it was something I could do.
She twisted wire, played with giant blades, and added color.
She would hold up a bucktail to me and say, "What do you think of this?" And I'd say, "It's just another bucktail. You know, they're a dime a dozen." I guess I was proved wrong.
He sure was. You see, eventually, Carrie tied up a giant spinner. But instead of using the standard deer hair, she tied on this flashy stuff. It's called flashaboo, and it's material mainly used by fly anglers.
I'm in the back cast, and I kind of almost begged to get him to use this bait, and he finally puts it on and makes like probably dozen casts with it and sets a hook on this fish. And then we finally got it in the bag, and I went, that's a big fish. That was probably the coolest moment, to know that I had built that, and he finally threw it, and it worked, and he got his first 50-inch fish.
No, I'm like, is this a fluke or is this for real?
Muskie guy Jason Hammernick helped answer that question in a hurry.
Heard a lot about his baits, and there was one laying at the cabin there over on the west side of Mille Lacs, and that's the day I met him, and I grabbed the bait. Took it out that night and had a phenomenal evening.
Yep, Kerry's bait worked yet again.
Didn't have it on my line for 5 minutes and got a 50 and a 53, so that's pretty good.
Kerry had created a muskie spinner that quickly caught fire in the muskie world. The Hoppies decided to start selling.
We got laughed at many, many times. People were saying, you know, what is this, a Christmas tree ornament, you know? No, it's a bucktail, and it works. It catches a lot of big fish.
When we started this, we never really expected the bait business to can either take off or get as big as it was. Originally, all I really wanted was to sell enough baits to buy myself a custom rod.
Turns out Kerry's tinkering led to something much bigger, much, much bigger. In Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, muskie anglers live by one unwritten rule. Cast, cast, and cast again. Such is the business of chasing big muskies.
Sitting right on the point.
Brad and Kerry Hoppy remain one of the fishing industry's most sudden and most popular husband and wife fishing teams. Not so much because of their on-the-water antics, but rather what happens back home. Let the mayhem begin.
This whole company, the baits, it is our life, and we live it every day.
Brad and Kerry together run Muskie Mayhem Baits, a company started rather suddenly after Kerry tinkered around and developed her new bait.
It's an inline spinner. The big blades actually pulsate and actually make a vacuum, if you will, behind the blades, causing that skirt to pulsate through the water.
It seemed to catch more muskies than just about any other bait ever brainstormed. The proof? Well, it just might be in the pictures.
The fish that have been caught on our baits, it's overwhelming.
Now, Muskie Mayhem employs lots of people working to build lots of spinners a year. Each bait builder follows a strict recipe. In just 4 years, these home-brewed baits became popular, and the demand overwhelmed the company.
We just outgrew our old shop, and so here we are. Here's a new facility. We've got some room for expansion, and things are going good. Brand new bait. It's called the Baby Girl. The old purple Cisco.
The Muskie Mayhem crew now builds more than a dozen big fish bait models.
We practically live in the shop, and that's what we do.
And here's the thing. Not only did Kerry's bait design catch the attention of the fish, it hooked the fishing industry too.
You know, one of the issues that some of the reel manufacturers were having was people were abusing their reels because these baits turn so hard.
Which is exactly why many muskie anglers now use giant rods equipped with fancy reels that most freshwater anglers never imagined using.
This is the spot that caught the very first showgirl fish.
Brad nowadays spends at least some time testing and developing.
New color. Let's see if she works.
Buddy and fellow muskie guy Jason Hammernick also helps.
Seems to keep coming up with new baits every year. I mean, it was the cowgirl, then the supermodel, then, you know, the junior. Now it's the baby girl. It's endless.
Jason seems to understand better than most the appeal of the Hoppy's baits.
That 1 year, How many 50s did you put in the boat?
I had 37 over 50 in the boat, and 35 of them, I believe, were on double cowgirls. It's for sure my #1 staple bait from June all the way through October.
Yeah, it's been said that our success has probably been the most rapid, most successful bait business overnight, basically. It's taken just this huge position in the muskie world, I guess is the best way I can say it.
Pretty amazing when you consider the Hoppy story, which is really Carrie's story. The girl who showed the muskie world her showgirl bait.
It's hard for me to say, yeah, we got the greatest thing in the world, but our baits obviously work. They've been very successful. They catch tons of big fish every year. And I guess with that success...
Fish. Come on, baby.
Got it.
No, don't got it. That was a good one.
Yep.
Designing baits seems second nature now to the Hoppies, but getting every fish in the boat?
You had it for a little bit.
I know.
Well, that's another story.
Who said fish don't eat blades in the cold weather?
Just why we love fishing and legends of rod and reel.
Sucks.
Coming up, we hang with Bob Ggerding, a Southwestern legend on the fly. But first, here's another tip from a legend of rod and reel.
One thing with bucktails is a lot of times they like to roll right over themselves. So a really quick fix for doing that is to take a pair of pliers, grab the eye of the bait, and just give it a slight tweak. By making that bend in the wire, it's going to keep the bait into like a keel position, which will keep it from rotating over itself.